This video is supported by Massdrop. For more information, why not check out the link in this video's description. So what is Massdrop? Well, Massdrop is a website found at massdrop.com for community commerce. They sell all sorts of fantastic things at fantastic prices. So how does it work? Well, when you sign up for the newsletter and join the Massdrop community, you'll be sent emails with their new products every day. You can talk about the products within the community that you want to see on Massdrop, and once enough people want the same product, Massdrop get you a fantastic discount. So essentially, the more people that want one product, the cheaper it is for everybody. They also have a referral program. So if you sign up for Massdrop today and refer 5 of your friends, you'll get a free gift worth $50. And you'll also be helping me support this channel. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be talking you through the fundamentals of Final Cut Pro 10, and this is a beginner's video, so if you're already using Final Cut Pro you can stick around to see if you learn anything new, but you could also click one of these videos which will take you directly to that video, or you could click on my face which will take you to my Final Cut Pro 10 tutorials playlist where you can find the other videos I've done on Final Cut Pro so far. So, like I said, this video is for beginners. If you've just picked up Final Cut Pro or if you're moving over from another software, I'm going to go very slowly through the very basic steps. So let's jump on to Final Cut Pro. So what you'll see here is Final Cut Pro's opening screen. This is the view you get when you first ever open up Final Cut Pro. So on the top right here you have your playback panel or your viewer window. That will show you the video that you're editing. Down here at the bottom you have your project library, which then becomes your timeline for editing your video, and up in the left you have where your event library and where you import your media to. So first things I'm going to do is I'm going to set this window up how I enjoy it. You can set it up however you want, but I think this is personally the best for me. This area down the bottom I keep as big as it is because you need as much depth as you can if you have different layers to your video. But this viewer window is too small for me, so I drag it out so that it's slightly wider, because then when you open the inspector on the right hand side you have enough space to still see your video, but we'll come back to that later. So the first thing I'm going to do is within this new event which Final Cut Pro has created for me, I'm going to import some media. Now I'm going to import a screen grab that I took earlier of a website. In fact, you'll have seen the video at the beginning of this video, and I'm then going to create a new project down the bottom which I'm going to call Final Cut Pro Beginners. Now the first tip I want to give you is keep everything organised. You don't want to have loads of things that you don't know what they are, so try and name your things as you bring them in. Now you notice when this opened, the timeline touched the left. All you really need to do is drag left with 2 fingers on your touchpad and it gives you a bit of a gap at the end here. And that's just my personal preference again. Everything in this video is how I like to use Final Cut Pro. You may find ways that work better for you, but this is a basic way to get started. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag this video down into the timeline, and you'll see you can scroll through the video, and if there was audio you would also scroll through the audio. Now this is due to these settings on the right hand side. We have video and audio skimming turned on. We have solo selected items turned off at the moment, but you may use that depending on what you're editing, and I personally have snapping turned off. Now what snapping does is it takes your first video and your second video and it makes sure the edges are completely touching. Now that's great if you're just doing one line of video, but I have a lot of layers to my video, so I turn that off so that I can have gaps between the other layers if I want to. Again, personal preference. If you need the snapping, turn it on. If you don't, turn it off. So what I'm then going to do is I'm going to click this magnification button down below, and I'm going to drag it to a length that I like. Now you'll notice that the timeline runs up in 5-second intervals. Now the smaller you get it, the larger the intervals become, up to 15 seconds. So I'm going to drag it out so that it fills my timeline and I can scrub through and see what I'm working with. So let's talk about 3 shortcuts on the keyboard that you will want to remember, 3 basic ones, and they're really simple. The first one is the A button. The A button gives you the mouse tool so you can select different things. The B button, although you can see them all drop down if you click on the arrow here, is for the blade tool. And one that's not on here is the V button, which solos a clip. So if you have different layers of your video, the top layer on the stack will always be the one that will be shown. Now if you hit V on a lower layer, that will be the layer you can see. All other layers will be blanked out. So the B button gives you the blade tool. You can then go through your footage really finely, frame by frame, and put cuts in wherever you think you need a cut. Then you just flick back with the A button to the mouse tool, and you can select those different clips really easily. So that's the first tip I've got. So next up, you'll see that this video is great, but it has no audio yet. So if you want to know how to record a voiceover, click the video that is in the top left corner right now, and that will tell you how to record voiceover in Final Cut Pro. So that's the basics of the layout of Final Cut Pro. So you now know how to import video, how to create a project, and how to cut up your project within this. So let's say you wanted more than one layer to a project. That's really simple. All you need to do is click on the next piece of footage. For this example, I'm going to use the same footage, and you drag it down to your timeline. Now you see it gives you another bar on top with a little stick out the bottom, which gets longer the higher you drag it up. So all you need to do then is line it up with wherever you want it to come in, and do whatever edits you want to do with that. That could be add a frame effect, make it smaller so it's picture in picture, but I'll come to that in another video. And that will simply just take over. When it gets to that point in the video, that video will then start. So that's how you add another layer on top. I'll just get rid of that so we've got the basic video again. So let's say you wanted some writing over your video to explain something that you were doing. Along here you have your options panel. Now first up is the effects browser, then you have photos browser, music and sound browser, which is where you'll find your sound effects and other things. You have your transitions browser, titles browser, generators browser, and themes browser. Now if you use themes, that's great, that will give you your text within your theme. I tend just to go into the titles browser, which pops up in the bottom right hand corner, and then you have a choice of different titles you can use. Now if you put your mouse on it and drag along, it shows you how that title will look. You'll notice the backgrounds are all black. That is simply because they're transparent backgrounds. So all you do is select the title you want, drag it into your piece the same as you would an overlay, and it pops in that title. Now you'll notice you cannot see my title here because it's white. This is where the inspector window comes in. Now I'm going to show you something small on the inspector window, but I am going to do a completely separate video on a walkthrough of the inspector window with more detail at a later date. So when you're in your inspector window, it will give you all your options. Simply select the clip you want to select, which in this case is the title, and go into text. You can change the title text, so I'm just going to put "This is a tutorial." Now you'll still see it's white, you can't see it, so just to change the colour you scroll down through the basics and you'll see a section that says face. Scroll over and click show on face, click the colour tab, and then simply select your colour. This will change the colour of the writing, the brightness, everything about it. Now if you want to move it around, you can click and drag the writing, which is one way to move it around, but if you want to add keyframes to it at a later date and have it move itself from one place to another over a certain period of time, you don't really want to drag the writing around. So this is where the video panel comes into effect. You go into video and you have a transform tool. That transforms scale, so it makes it bigger or smaller, and it moves the position of the things around. This is also where you'll do keyframing, but I'll come to that again when we go into the inspector walkthrough video. So that's all you really need to know for Final Cut Pro for absolute beginners. You can now add writing to your video, cut your video up, and you know where to look for certain aspects of changing things of different clips, which is the inspector window. You know 3 shortcuts, which are V, which clears off a thing. So if you have a layer above here which you don't want to see, you select that layer and you hit V on the keyboard and it solos that layer out so you can just see the stuff underneath it. You know B, which takes you to the blade tool, which allows you to cut up your clip very finely, frame by frame in fact. And you know A, which takes you back to the mouse, which gives you the selection tool. Now there are other shortcuts which you can find out by clicking on the blue arrow here. You have trim, which is T, position, which is P, range selection, which is R, zoom, which is Z, and H, which is the hand tool. But I tend not to use any of these other ones. I simply use the select, the blade, and the solo out objects. So if this video has helped you out, please like it. Subscribe to my channel if you want some more. I will be bringing a lot more Final Cut Pro videos. The reason this is only short and only a few things of Final Cut Pro is because I want to go into things in more detail in other videos. So I will be bringing out an inspector walkthrough, and I will be bringing out a video on each of the panels on the right hand side, from effects browser through to themes. Sorry, tripping over my tongue here. Thanks once again for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.